Oh my goodness, it's been recording this whole time, and here I was just trying to find a place to put it. Well, I'm gonna leave it the way it is, because this is for me. This isn't a public thing. So this is very poignant, that the shuffle out of 144 songs. This one. Follow you into the dark. You and me, I've seen everything to see. Bangkok to Cal. You know, I really do believe. Not just because I want to believe, but I really do believe I'm not going to get into any further detail on that, because even though this is just for me, it is technically public. And so let's get into the boring stuff. So I'm making this because I have to divorce Robert. I must. It's just the decision is so clear in my soul. I remember the phases of acceptance of this decision. First it was, oh no, could it be again not working? Could it be that it might just be like this forever, a fight, and then it'll be okay for a minute, and then they'll go right back, and they'll be okay for a minute, and then it gets right back to the impasse. So Robert and I have reached a point of I literally struggle with my mental health trying to communicate with him. And I can't say that it's on purpose, but I can't say that it's not. I have a feeling that some of it isn't, and some of it is inability to empathize. I don't know. But yeah, regardless, I'm actually really happy that this has happened, though. Because if this wasn't the case, it would make this so much harder. I remember, because I was there and I couldn't do it. I was driving. Well, I wasn't driving. I was a passenger, but I was en route to my audition in LA. And it was like getting hit by lightning. You just can't deny it. And I knew so strongly, just out of nowhere, that I needed to go home. I needed to go back to Mike. I needed to try to make things right. I needed to align myself with the spirit of, like, I guess I want to say the spirit of truth, but it's deeper than the spirit of truth. It's like this spirit of authenticity, where you can say, I really feel this way, not I do things and I try to force myself into this mold so that I can want the things I'm meant to want, the things I'm supposed to want. I understand that I got to this reality with a lot of loss and a lot of trauma along the way because of following what felt right, what I wanted to do, regardless of what anybody thought. I did it, and I went in that direction for as far as it would allow. And then when the haze lifted and my memories of neglect to my children and a myriad of other unacceptable, unbelievable memories that would flash before my eyes, I would have to go back into the mist, back into the fog, more substances, anything to drown out reality, because who could believe such a nightmare? And then to think, well, now the problem's out of the way. Now my children can be somewhat normal and successful because this me that was so caught up in my reflection and in my ego, for sure. That person didn't deserve, in my opinion, now, that person didn't deserve to be around the children. That does not mean that they did not absolutely owe the children every ounce of effort and endurance and might and whatever, spiritual, fortitude, all that stuff I needed to summon because I owed it to the kids, and I didn't understand that. I just saw the evil monster that I hated, that should have known better, that I don't even know where to start. But the fact of the matter is regardless of how unacceptable and angry I was with that deformed version of me, shaving my head bald was a good step. If I had stayed with, well, if I could, I don't know, with that level of psychosis and drugs and habit and, people, circles, community that I was, I don't know if I could go back and change it, if I really could go back and change it. I don't know. But what I do know now, looking back, is that when I did finally understand that I owed it to them to be the best person possible, regardless of if I ever got to see them again, because I needed to stay, I needed to become somebody that if they did turn around and look for me, that it was worth finding. So that process started back in 2017, right before the audition, and Well, when I finally did realize, it was a really cold, depressing, empty space, and I couldn't hold it for very long before I was too emotionally frostbitten from the way it felt to be sober, to be present. So, when I got my cat, Big Max, he was a little miracle, wrapped in a miracle. He was my buddy ever since day one, living in my car with me. And if I couldn't find him, I'd go back to the spot a little bit later, sometimes the next day, and I'd call for him, and he'd come running. He wouldn't go too far after that. And he was my best friend. He got me to quit smoking cigarettes, because, can't smoke around him. Can't like it. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the fact that if I didn't have him to hug and to cry and to love, I think I even remember telling him, like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Really, cat. But because I had someone one to love unconditionally and love me back. And I made mistakes too. There were times where, I wasn't on top of the food. I wasn't on top of the water. I loved him with all my heart. But letting him down in these little ways was a good school for me to come back into being a human. And so, living in the car and having everybody tell me that I wasn't going to make it. And then having miracles happen. And having really amazing jobs that are beyond what anything I qualified for. It was just amazing. These opportunities I was given. So, I know God's real, and I know all this. But that day, when I heard the call, go home, I was just getting ready to try and give Robert my best shot. I mean, I came after this guy I didn't know, and I was so blunt about the fact. I don't even know you. I'm following the voice of God. It told me to do this, and I know it, so I must. Cool. Not to mention the fact that right before I clearly was told, don't do it. And I was so hell-bent on winning. Just convincing him because he didn't want to. I basically raped the guy. I mean, no, but yeah. Like, I definitely forced myself on somebody who was not willing and didn't want it. Like, what? Anyways, I figured everything that happened, I owed it to him, if he really did love me, to really try. Because, I mean, what did I have to lose? And then getting a prompting that I had to go, all I did was I received it. I understood it. I processed it. And then I just choked up in my life. I didn't know how to deal with it. And so then finally I would like stammer this weird explanation of, okay, so I had this feeling, and inevitably I would be, I would be convinced by myself and others that, no, that's fine. But I knew. And there were some more resurgences of this feeling, and I didn't listen, and it hurt. It hurt really, really, really bad. And then having him be brain damaged 13-year-old. Anyways, I don't want to talk bad about people, but lies, I was in it to win it now because it was my life. I was either going to lose to the darkness and try to commit suicide with a needle in my arm behind a dumpster, or I was going to become a soldier. And I was going to fight for my life. I was going to fight to be righteous. I was going to fight. I was going to fight the good fight. I was going to do what I knew I should do every time, all the time. But he wasn't doing it. And then he was... It's still happening. It's still happening. I am suffering spiritually being around this individual. It's literally killing me. I am so in love with Mike. I was when I left him. I knew I loved him till eternity and back. It was the happiest I've ever been in my life. I was putting it all over social media. I've never been happier than I am. Until a few days later, then I'd never been happier until that moment. Just looking out the window over there in Eucalyptus Ridge or whatever it is. But, I don't know why I don't know how could I need to learn that lesson? How could my mind? I mean, I understand that I had, began abusing my medications, and then I began using illegal drugs and going out with people that were bad influence, and that then I began to, really heavily get into some really toxic homemade, dirty South meth, and I know I lost my mind, and I hope one day it'll come back. I think a very sane, very good person made a mistake they knew was wrong with the pills, taking too many, and then buying them from someone else. All that was bad. But when I thought it was okay to step into the realm of homemade, illegal, hillbilly methamphetamines, if I could have talked to me and explained the obvious, this is very risky, it's very dangerous. But I've done that before, but you don't know what? Like, no. It's like you get a burger from In-N-Out, or you get a burger from some foreigner in a rural part of Vietnam in the ghetto. You could be eating person, you could be eating puppies, you could be eating poop mixed, you could be eating anything is the point. And at least, wow, I can see it now. So my partying, I was totally partying on things that were safe, right? So, and then I just wanted to keep that party going. Oh, it was Molly, then the crazy homemade meth. That's what it was. Here, take this pill. What's Molly? It's herbs. It's just a bunch of herbs mixed. And I said, I accept that answer as good enough to put this in my body. Well, knowing how it happened doesn't change the fact that I'm here now, still in love with Mike, now, more than ever, now. How? I can't move on. And it's not even, this is the part that kills me, is it's not even because I don't think I could find another person. It's not because I don't think I'm smart enough or good enough or anything enough. My ego's actually kind of a problem. I think I'm really cool. Probably not. The reason I love Mike is because when I close my eyes, he's what I see. When I dream, he's what I dream. When I finally felt safe in life was when I had my hand on his chest and I was sleeping. And I remember for a while after I would wake up, I'd feel him fade away. Like he was there. He was in my life. And then it would crumble. And I'd be So I'm supposed to believe that Mike and I are going to have a happily ever after. And you know what the funniest part is about it? Is I can't even talk about this, even though it is just for me. I can't talk about this without feeling a pressure of what will someone think. Well, so if I am correct and there really is a spirit world and God, which I know this, but my brain wants to formulate these sentences in this way. It's got to be evidence of something, right? Like, clearly I'm not owning my reality, my feelings, which is because I lost reality. I lost control of my feelings. I lost the ability to say, I know I'm right. Because I went through so much, I just default. Oh, you're probably right. So, I know nobody's watching. I know God is real. I don't have to say, even if it's just in my head, ... I can say, Dad Hansen. His grandfather came to me in a dream. First time it ever happened. Mike and I were babies. I don't even think he had proposed yet. Maybe he just had, or he hadn't. I don't know. But I had this dream about the guy in the white waiter suit, like for a fancy restaurant, the green cloth napkin, and he's walking under an awning outside, and it starts raining blood, and he looks at me and communicates telepathically without moving his mouth. He looks at me and he communicates to my mind. You need to hurry and go get sealed in the temple. It's getting worse out here, or something like that. It's getting worse. It's gonna get worse. I don't know. We didn't end up in the temple until 8 years later. 8 years later. And then I'm having all kinds of trippy stuff happening in the temple, which are very, very, like, identical to acid trips that I now know what that is like. I have a reference base, at least, a couple. And, like, what the F, Tucker? Like, why would I be going through all that? I don't know. But what I do know is, 45 days later, my reality was over. So, I need to stay focused. The things I'm trying to sort out here are very real-time issues. Because Dad. So he came to me again. I asked for it. Dude. So I was praying and meditating on all of my miracles. Moments in time where I knew that I was dealing with a force greater than myself. It was undeniable. Like seeing temple stuff that I didn't even have an inkling to guess, to think that you wouldn't just wear your regular clothes in the temple, like fancy church clothes. I didn't know. And then to know that that's what he was getting buried in. That's what you wear in the temple. Like, that's beyond. That's so beyond. Like, that to me is fact. And so I prayed. probably the most awkward prayer. Like, hey, I'm not sure if you remember me, but I'm trying to get in contact with my purpose in life and to not die, not go back out and live behind a dumpster because I hate my life. And I don't hate my life. I hate communicating with Robert on any level. I don't like physical contact with him in any way. This has been actually, when I got that very first message on the way to go do my audition, that's when all abilities to just put it aside, something changed. It wasn't possible. And the fact that it was even possible in the first place is just super duper sad because, you know, I was molested as a little kid growing up, you know, so I was taught, I wasn't taught monogamy. I was taught sneak and hide and, it's irrelevant. Point is, at least I've matured out of that. But there were some ugly times trying to get over that. I had to start using drugs again. It was the weirdest tug of war. Like, I want to be a good person. Because I got pregnant, completely strung out on drugs, and had this baby. And now I had to try to, like, you know, because I said if I ever went out and used again, if I ever relapsed, I would walk out of her life before ever neglecting her or abusing her or any of that. And, I mean, dude, I had a needle in my arm 4 days before she was born while I was getting married at the courthouse. Like, wearing all this weird stuff that I had rigged to look like a dress, but it was really like size 3X shirt as a skirt thing. I don't even know. I'm playing, drugs are really hard to stop. And we went to stay in a, I don't know what you want to call it, homeless place for families. And of course, this girl is high off her freaking butt. And that was that. She didn't even offer me any. I didn't even get any from her. I just saw her eyes. And I went to the park. I went to the park and did that whole, like, will you smoke me out? And then I was gone. I never came back. I left his car there at the center with the keys in the little flap. And, took my stuff. And I planned on never returning. I was gonna go die out there. But when she was over a year old, I guess, she was walking around. And that's when the efforts started becoming actually possible. I had done, someone who was a friend of mine, he had LSD, and I was like, hey, can I have some? He's like, I only have a tiny bit. It's not really going to be enough for you. And I was like, I'll take it, dude. Like, seriously? And he's like, all right, well, maybe you'll see something sparkle. I don't know. Yeah, I saw something sparkle, all right. I started crying. I knew I knew I could do it, but I knew I could do it so many other times, and then I couldn't stick. But after something about having the LSD in my system when I made that decision, I know carried me through beyond something that was my ability. Something in my brain that couldn't say no was now able to say no. I can't explain it. But anyways, nobody cares about that story. I want to talk about something that's actually freaking important, because that's what this is freaking for. Sorry, freaking. So anyways, I love who I love. There is no moving on. And oh, Thad. See, it all comes back to Thad. So I prayed and I was like, hey, like I need some help here. And he was like, all right. So you love Mike? And I was like, well, yeah, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that, and there's nothing we can do about it. So, tell me something useful. And he's like, all right, well, you say that you want to protect your marriage in the temple by not getting sealed to Robert, not getting a temple divorce. That oh yeah, I definitely got a prompting on that. It was like, But check this out. This experience I had made me feel foolish. I felt like I was kind of, I don't know, mocked maybe? Like, oh, okay, cool. So you're going to have heaven with him. Not this life at all. You're not even going to try. You're just going to shoot for that. You're going to live alone, right? Bide your time. And everybody dies. And you get to get back together. That's the plan. And I was like, so? Is it so bad of a plan? Like, I don't understand what the issue is. And he said, do you want... And this was in a meditative state. And I was pretty lucid, but these things were coming through. And he was basically like, do you want to be with him in this physical world? I was like, well, yeah. But it's not possible. He goes, well, okay, I'm asking you to just think. Can you even imagine what a reality that facilitated that would be like? Would you even want to? I'm like, well, yeah. But then a lot of questions come up, like, how do I feel about the whole, they just got off of school one day and all their crap was there with the social worker. Mike was done. No explanation. Just, like, textbook abandonment. I would have never thought that he would have done that. I thought he looked at them like they were really something he loved forever and ever. And see, I used to use that specific memory to fuel my decision to live in contradiction with what I felt. I'd say, see, I can't go be with him. How am I gonna, how are we gonna get past that? How is he gonna ever feel okay looking at me going, oh yeah, I totally missed out on all that with them? And how is he not gonna blame me? How is he not gonna blame himself? How are we ever going to have anything happy again after anything that's happened? And that sounds logical. Not what I'm receiving in the heart, though. The heart is so very clear. So, that, and I just have to say this because my brain won't let me not say it, that, or my subconscious manifestation. Okay, this is why I want to say it, because the first time I had a dream, I was like asleep, and he was there. It was things, it was proof. That was amazing. Blow out of the water experience. Hands down, nothing gets near that. What I had during a meditative state, I was searching and I felt responses that could be manifestations of the Holy Ghost. It could be whatever it is. It's not. I gotta really own what I believe. Like, it's not just me. I can tell. And sometimes I can't quite tell. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm full of shit? No. It means, like, when you smell stuff and you go, oh, I thought that was weed. That's a skunk. Oh, I thought that was macaroni and cheese. It's whatever. You know, like, nobody calls you a liar because you smelled something and thought it was something else and you were certain of it. It's the same thing with my impressions spiritually, you know? Yeah, I get it wrong sometimes. Some stuff I have no idea what it is. Super strong, can't. That's whatever, doesn't matter. Point is, I got something, it wasn't me, and it came through. And I say, Thad, I don't know anything other than what I think I know. And even all of that is up to debate. Like, we'll find out at the end of all reality, you know, with the book of life or whatever, what's really going down. But he was like, yeah, picture it now. What would that look like? I'm like, okay, well, from what I know, he has like a cerebral palsy, completely handicapped, dependent, adopted little kid, has like an established life with another individual, and there it is, even right now. I just feel this pounding within my heart. It's not my heart. It's with my heart. I feel this like intensity that's like, be brave and have courage and be patient and all this stuff. But I know that I have to have it in the back of my mind. And this is the lesson, I guess. I still want to say it was Dad that gave me this lesson. But the lesson was, sorry. So I'm supposed to call him. I sent his dad an email. I was so afraid to send the email. But seriously, like, I was trying to deny these messages I was receiving, and then commercials come on the radio, and I think it was like for AutoZone or something. And the guy working there in the audio commercial, so I could only hear them, I couldn't see them, was Randy. And then the girl there to purchase was Heather. And so it was Randy and Heather and Randy and Heather. And I've never heard a commercial say two names that many times. It felt absurd. And it probably was only twice. But to me, it may as well have been first, middle, and last. I was like, wow, okay, I have to, or I'm absolutely completely denying something that apparently I wish to come true. I mean, I would accept any level. If he would, even if he just did what William did, see me once, barely say anything, pleasant but awkward, you know, not exchanging phone numbers, but I guess a bit of a resolution to the situation, I guess, and that's what happened with me and William. Like, even if it was just that, you know, if he was just like, that's all I want, it would be more than what I have now, and it would be a gift. And this is hard to say, and I probably shouldn't say it, if he wanted to stay in his life and I could just be his mistress that never needed to be seen by anybody ever again. Like, I feel like I would do anything. I feel like I would twist and contort to whatever I needed to be just to be near him. But that's not right, and that's not healthy. I also can't just pull a Marie and stomp in and be like, no, me or her, not both. And I'm not a jealous person like that. I totally could share. You can have the bigger half. So, I mean, I knew I wasn't going to get a response from it. But I had to write it as if I was going to get a response. And then I've been feeling these nudges to try and call my phone. And I found this weird website. I wasn't even looking for it. It was like the first result, and then I couldn't find it ever again. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I took screenshots of everything, so I have it. I have all this information. It's crazy. Like, when you do people searches, like, usually it's like, do you know them? They might be between the ages of 20 and 60. Click here and pay some money to find out if it's who you know. This wasn't that. This was like really weird. It was like not only like all their names and phone numbers and email addresses and physical addresses. It was also like their neighbors and their neighbors' addresses and who do they know and who's closest to them. But I do have to say that Mike, his number one person, was me. I think Ceci was like number 7. No, I'm not trying to compete. That sounds totally wrong. It doesn't matter. That had no bearing on anything. But I am Heather Hansen. I will be Heather Hansen till the day I die. I've been married twice legally. And for one reason or another, Hansen is who I stayed. It is not going away. After this divorce, I'll do the same as I've done before. Just ignore the paperwork and just stay. And I don't ever need to marry Mike again. I'm already married to him in the temple. I'm not sure how it works, but my feeling in my heart is that divorcing in the courts here doesn't erase a temple marriage. That's why you need a temple divorce, because they're two separate things. I'm still very married to Mike in my heart, and I don't ever want a divorce. I don't want to find somebody better. I don't want to find somebody different. And it's not even about what I want, because I understand that these feelings that are so strong, that are so distinct, that are so intense, come from a higher version of me. It's my higher self, right? It's like my Holy Ghost. And I really do believe that these things that I feel so intensely that I do want, right? But I don't want to want them because it's too hard and it's not gonna work. And and I have all of these things that are completely sane and rational. But I can't do that. I can't. I have to actually try and go after somebody who had, like, I can't go after somebody. I can't do that. Like, I already freaking did what I did to Robert. There's no way I would go after. Okay, so now we're going to talk faith again. So, what the heck was Nephi doing in front of Laban, right? Right before he had to kill the guy. He's like, I've never smitten anybody. I don't want to do that. And then he was like, you got to do it. And he's like, I don't want to kill somebody. Like, imagine that. Imagine that. So, that sucks. Because that means FOMO, right? FOMO, fear of missing out. This emotion I have is the what if. What if I'm given something to do that I really need to do, but I'm not brave enough, or it's too scary, or whatever. I've been sitting here for 45 minutes, waiting for 5 more minutes just to get my out so that I can respond back to this text to Robert about Soren's birthday party. I don't want to. I want to figure this out. I'm never gonna stop loving Mike. I'm never gonna stop being Heather Hansen, and I'm never gonna stop being there for him, because it's the only thing that brings me peace. It's the only thing I can do, is to be there for my kids and to be there for somebody that I love and I want to be there for. So this next wedding anniversary is going to be September 1st. I can't celebrate a false anniversary. So in 50 something days, I have to, or less than, you don't want to wait until the day, like, hey, guess what I have for you on this very special day, you know. And then I'm really weird, like, I bought him a flower because he bought me a flower that was like this pink a year ago, and it was, it's like it doesn't die or something, but it's real. And when I was homeless, I called him and I said, can you meet me at this, Burger King or whatever, and I brought him, I think it was from the 99-cent store. They were like mini roses, but, like a dozen mini roses, and they were yellow. And I'd done research that yellow represented friendship and, bonds that are platonic. And I told him that I wanted him in my life forever, but as a friend. And he cried. He said he'd never gotten flowers before. It meant a lot to him. I don't know. But now I'm like, is this freaking weird now? Because I'm trying to leave him, but I still do need to co-parent and be involved. And anyways, it's this yellow rose that apparently is never going to die. Or, I don't even know the rules, but I was going to give it to him. Friends. Yellow friends. This whole thing makes me feel sick. It's going to be my son's first birthday. And I have to do these things. I have to. I can't be around him. I can't. Plus, he started gaming, and with him, with the games, and I can't communicate with him as it is. But with that, he's just confused and confusing and frustrated and frustrating. And I can't be there. I have to leave. I just got in the car and left. I didn't even tell him where I was going. And I was looking all kinds of crazy, tired, and I looked like 100 years old. And so I put a little bit of makeup on just because I figured, I'm sitting here in the church parking lot, and if somebody rolls up on me, I can at least be like, hi. Oh, and my shirt was so filthy from the baby, like, eating, and, like, I mean, you can't see. But it's just covered. I had to turn my shirt inside out so I could go into Starbucks to use the restroom because I didn't want to go back to the house. And Tiffany has agreed to offer me sanctuary, but apparently she's kind of gone hoarder status, and she's got a bunch of cats, and when I lived there before, because I divorced Robert, I moved to Louisiana, she was bringing guys home and having, like, attention-seeking. She was basically kind of being like me when I first began chasing my ego down the rabbit hole, which ended in my demise and destroyed everything. And that was really, like, I couldn't be around that, It was like, it's not fun, it's scary. I don't want to go to bars, hang out, guys. Can't be like that, Mom. And she's having a life. I understand. I'm just a little concerned because I have kids. And then also, are they going to Louisiana with me? My son still nurses. Because Robert, during an argument, he had said, well, if you leave to Louisiana, you won't be taking the kids with you. And I was like, fine, whatever. I still gotta go. I can't be with you. And he was like, oh, didn't expect that. Another question I had to ask myself during the whole Heather Hansen meditation was, would I be willing to walk away from the 2 children I have under my care currently? So there's an 11-month-old little boy who looks at me like I am the stars, moon, and firmament. He, like William. So would I walk away from him to be with Mike? Why did I say to be with you? Like he's watching this. It's so weird. I have to get this tooth root canaled. I'm supposed to go do it today in an hour and a half, but I canceled my appointment. I'm scared and I don't want to go. I guess 52 minutes should be enough time for a video, but it's not because I don't know what to do, you know? So what? I know I need a divorce. I know I want to be with Mike. I don't have a right to try or to even approach that topic, but yet I already have with the email. But because I was like severely prompted. Whoa. It's so intense. Like it's super intense. I don't know what to do. Okay, well, I'm done because all I can think is this insane tooth pain, which is actually a blessing because this insane pain, which is like going into my soul, it's distracting me from the conundrum of what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? And will I survive? Because that's another thing I have to take into consideration is if I try and I'm not strong enough, it becomes too big of a fight, too many emotions, and I just crash and burn and run away into something that takes my life. Things can get pretty crazy and scary. I'm just saying I have to be ready and aware for anything that life throws at me because it's really throwing everything at me. And leaving Robert is not going to go without some sort of emotions. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. That's the worst part. I know I love these kids, and I did say, I actually did, during that, like, first realization of, like, would I be able to walk away from Soren so that I could be with Mike again? But the only reason I said yes to that is because I had this feeling, this understanding that the Mike that I'm trying to get to, that I know, would do everything to help me have as much involvement and interaction with my baby as possible, you know? But if I had to not live with him and be separate so that I could do that and just get to see my child, I mean, would I trade him, like, never to be seen again? That's a question I'm not even gonna ask, because that's just torture. That's not even, like, it's not fair to put up on the, you know, chopping block. I don't know what word to use. But yeah, I would definitely sacrifice my most valuable, my most desired, my most coveted, my most intense love. I would do almost anything. I would. This. So I've started smoking nicotine, which is completely against the church, which means this has gotta stop. It's just gotta stop. Like, there's no wiggle room to make this allowed in my life. So this is, I think, the third one. It's gotta be the last one. Because if I'm really trying to do everything 100%, and I'm not staying married to somebody who's going to sabotage and confuse and distract and manipulate, sorry, facts are freaking facts. It's not fun. So, it's just me now, right? Even though he's there, he's with the kids, right? I know in my heart where I stand, and I walked away. I walked out of the house. Boom. I can do that now because I know I'm not his. Never was. I'd rather be wife to an imaginary, righteous... I know he's not perfect. I know that. I know that. But there's something about the way he knows. And the kids should have had him promise never to leave them. Then he would have stayed. Because he doesn't break promises. Alright, on that note, I'll take goodbye, Sonny. Almost an exact hour, so that works. Oh, touching the laptop and the tablet. Well, in the name of Jesus Christ, as Heather Hansen, doing the best that I can, I ask that harmony can fall upon every aspect of these situations. I love you so very much, God. And I would do anything to do right by the people I love and not hurt anybody I love anymore. And I would love to say that I don't ever have to be happy or have anything good for myself ever again. But fact of the matter is being with the people I love and seeing them and enjoying things with them. It's finally enough. It finally is. And it was, though. The destination, the journey was the destination, right when all of this insanity happened. You see, I went to do it again. Your grandfather. Anyways, his grandfather said to get to the temple, and like right after I started tripping balls. But I had been on drugs too. That could be why I don't know, man. It's been officially an hour, so